And we are live for episode 194 of the Start Build Grow Show. We have a special guest to talk all things follow up with your sales process and helping you close more leads. Let's hop right into it. All right. We are live. 194. Man, we are getting closer and closer to 200. We got myself, Connor Rodich, my main man, Randy Brothers. How are we doing?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to today's show. Really excited again, man. This is going to be some heat. We're going to deliver some value. Like we always try to bring heat. We always try to deliver concepts and content that is going to help you get better as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a leader, as a salesperson, all the things. So today we're going to cover a lot of ground. Really excited to bring in James King Baskin with Outsource Kings. Thank you for joining us today. And we're going to dive into some pretty cool stuff. I mean, the number one challenge and number one reason why salespeople don't ever reach their full potential, because they don't follow up, right? What do they say? Something like, the average salesperson follows up like one time. Less than 10% of salespeople will follow up. I think it's like 5 or 6 times. And I'm sure I'll have a little more data there, but it's terrible how in sales, so many of us are in sales, whether we like it or not, we're in sales and we don't follow up, right? Man, I wouldn't be married today if I didn't follow up enough times, right? So we got to follow up is vitally important. But before we get started, we're going to kind of dive into the background like we always like to do. But I just want to take a minute to say Happy Father's Day to you, Connor. James, you got kids as well, my friend? Nope, not yet, right? No kids yet, but it was a great weekend, and happy Father's Day to all those dads out there that follow the show, that listen to the show. So if you're listening, happy Father's Day to you, and welcome back to the show. And make sure you like, subscribe, and do the thing. So welcome in. All right, James. We always like to start with story, man. Just give us a little bit of your background as an entrepreneur, just in general. Like, how'd you get into business, and how'd you get into the business that you're in now?
Yeah, appreciate it. And Randy, Connor, thank you guys again, and happy Father's Day to you guys. So I come from the insurance industry, life and health insurance and Medicare. I was selling insurance. I was a field agent, so to speak. I would go door to door, door knocking people, cut my teeth in that, door knocking direct mail leads that I used to mail out. And then I used to mail people's houses if they didn't answer the phone. And what I realized was that I could make a bunch of money in a day and bust my ass, but I didn't have time to see everyone. And so I started outsourcing. I started hiring people to make phone calls for me to capitalize or kind of like exponentially grow my time, so to speak, and started creating systems. I would go door to door. So one of the systems that we first created was what kind of car people had in their driveway. And if I didn't see that car in their driveway, I would keep driving. And so my team, we would call the people, we'd do confirmation calls. And eventually on the way, people started asking me to teach them how to do what I did. So before I was like a service provider, I actually like tried to like build a course. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I sold it for a little bit and really found that there was a lot of pain point in what people were doing, including myself. And so I have my insurance agency going, and the big thing was I had no time to follow up with leads. You guys have been around for a minute, so I'm sure you remember the golden days years ago when Facebook leads were dirt cheap and they were high quality and everyone loved them and everything like that. The golden days, I'm seeing head nods, so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And I was getting long form life insurance leads at $1 a piece, and I was spending $50 a day. And I never had this experience, and I probably never will again. I would walk into little old ladies' houses, and they had their checkbook out, and they didn't even let me do a demo. They were like, "Do I write this out to you?" And I would never had seen that before, and I was like, "Whoa, social media, online marketing, like, and how this is, there's something there." And I couldn't follow up with all the leads. They would come in. I have to call them during dinner time with family, friends, and I said, "This is, I got in business to." Grow a business, but also to still maintain a life. And so I started outsourcing follow up, and I started creating systems. And now I have a whole team that handles my whole day with lead follow up.
Sweet, man. Yeah, so let's hop into it. Talking about Outsource Kings, you guys are kind of have a unique model and the way that you do your follow-up. So give us a little bit of substance around how you guys go about executing a flawless follow-up process and making sure that you close more deals.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys mind if I share my screen. I see I have the ability to. I wanted to share this with your group. Is that cool if I share my screen real quick?
Sure.
Sure.
Awesome. So I'm going to share a Google Tracker with your group. Anyone can download this and they can make a copy. So I don't know if of course now it's doing that. There we go. Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Should be coming up here in a sec.
Okay.
Can't see it just now. Can't see it yet. So.
Okay, it's got some system processes. So what I'll do is I'll share the tracker in the chat.
Sure.
So
shoot it to us, and we can share it on the Facebook group and all that stuff.
Yeah.
On the Facebook channel and all that.
For whatever reason, it's not letting me share in the comments, but I can put it in the private chat. So I guess you guys can see that.
Yep. Go ahead and do that, and we'll post it.
Yep. So in that is a Google Sheet. Pretty simple. I like to keep things simple. There's CRMs to focus on, all that stuff, but I know the roofers that we work with, they all got the AccuLink software. They've got the next CRM. They're tired of seeing new systems. I like to keep things simple, really simple. And so on Google Sheet, there is, you can customize this. There's name, email, phone number. You can put other drop downs. For instance, when we're scheduling roofing appointments, there is time frame. There is things like budget. There's criteria about their roof, all kinds of stuff. So anyone can access this. You guys can go to File, make a copy, and then you can have access to this. And it's got drop downs. And this is how you guys can start to simplistically put leads in there. So I talked to, Connor and Randy and I told you guys I wanted to give this group some things that they could take away from this and they can apply and use in their business right away. This Google Sheets tracker, it's very simple. It even has a lead color disposition. And so I did want to share that with the group, Connor, to go along with what you were asking.
Cool. Sweet.
Cool. So let's dive into strategy here as well. I mean, it's a cool document. So if anybody who's watching it or listening, you can kind of go on to the Facebook replay, look at the comments, and download the document he's talking about. But like I mentioned early in the show, I mean, that's probably the number one catalyst as to what can help a contractor close more, and any salesperson close more deals. Yep. Let's dive into the concepts. Give us some, the key bullet points of how to initiate and how to implement a great follow-up system to increase your sales.
Yep. So first, the two biggest things that people overlook that I'll go into, like a strategy someone can create, is going to be how fast you follow up. A lot of people, especially a lot of contractors, they all tell me the same thing. If they don't have a good system, well, I follow up at the end of the day or first thing in the morning. Makes sense, right? They're busy. They get to it tomorrow. So first thing is having someone, or at least if you have someone that's even an hour a day that can follow up prior to tomorrow. So speed, how fast you call a lead, and how often are going to be two things. So anyone that's listening, I get it. You're either trading time versus money. And at some point, you're going to reach a point in your business where you might have to expand and you might have to bring someone else in. And so first, you want to develop what you're going to say on the phone. So before you bring someone else in the organization, you want to know, how does this represent my business? Because what I might say for a client might be different than what you want to say. You might want to say, hey, how big's your home? Do you guys need windows inside and done? Do you guys need this? Do you guys? And so first, you want to develop your own script. There's a simple exercise that anyone can do right now. My phone's on the charger, but I would show you. So you can go on your phone and you can record yourself when you call people. So what I mean by that is you're not recording them, you're just recording what you say. And this is how you can maximize and duplicate yourself to when you do bring someone in your business, they can listen to the call recordings and they can just duplicate what you say. So we're creatures of habit as human beings, and we generally say the same things and we don't even realize we're saying it. And so when we call people, you'd be surprised when you call someone like a lead or a client, it's the same conversation a lot of times. And so it might be different scenarios, but it's the same conversation. And so the first thing you can do, you might say to yourself, oh, I don't know what I would tell someone to say on the phone. The thing is you already do. I've had this conversation with hundreds of people. They all say, oh, I can't make a script. And I say, take your phone, record yourself. When you start calling leads, don't record them, just record yourself. And they all come back and they say, that was so easy. So the first thing you can do as a strategy is record yourself on your phone. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. And then that way, when you bring someone in your business, whether it's a outsourced employee, whether it's an internal employee, whoever it is, whether it's your sister's best friend, whoever it is, they can listen to that audio recording and they know how you speak to the leads. They know the questions you ask. And here's another thing. You can also write down when you listen to it what you say. So now you have a script. So now you've built your script off just doing what you normally do. So you haven't taken the time to sit there and, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night after a long day, I'm trying to make my script. You just record yourself like you're doing your normal day. Now you've got your script. Now when you're starting to grow more and you want to bring someone internally, you can share that with them, both the audio file and the Google document or the piece of paper, however you write it out. And then if you take something like the tracker I have, you can have your leads start to go on there. Software like Zapier and other things can put the leads on there. Now you've got an organized system. And then you can create what I call call cadences. So like a good strategy would be, first, you want to check your phone number. Right now, the biggest thing happening across the board for us and all across phones, spam. Everyone's getting flagged as spam right now. There's a lot of ways to fix it. I don't want to get too technical. I want to stick to the strategy. First thing you want to do, call one of your friends. Hey, what's my phone show? Does it show a local area code? Because when you're calling your clients, you want to represent the area you're in. You don't want to be showing up as scam or spam or whatever. So that's the first part when you're calling people. The next part, are you calling them back to back? If someone doesn't answer the phone, call them twice. You call someone twice, they're more likely to pick up the phone. We call that a double tap. And so you get the local area code, 2 calls in a row. Now you've got a script someone can follow. And these are simple things that someone can kind of plug into. And so hopefully I wanted to give you a lot right there that people could just take some actionable items right there.
That's good, man. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, for sure. And so we're already getting some questions in here. Ty, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining us today. How soon, right? I think it's a great question, is how soon should someone follow up? And just to put some context, we're just going to assume, you talked a little bit about the front end, setting appointments and those things, but we're kind of really thinking more of the back end, the follow-up. So you've already done your sales presentation, or you've already met with this person and they didn't pull the trigger. They didn't sign with you right then and there. What's the process after the fact? How soon should you follow up? And I want to add to that as well is, how often should you follow up, and what types of follow-ups should you have?
Yeah, so when I talk to roofers that we work with, we're calling the leads on the front end, and then I'll hear them sometimes and they'll say, oh, I'm not sending an estimate for 24, 48 hours. And especially right now with how competitive things are, I mean, I can't speak on any specific area, but especially with insurance and all kinds of different types of claims people are doing, you got to be really fast. I like people that send an estimate same day, if not even sooner. I like the idea of they put something out there while they're there or within a couple hours. And so obviously that's going to depend on the person. I understand people are, have limits kind of thing. I think a couple days just to see where the person's at. I like house visits. Full transparency, I'm not a roofer. I've never sold a roof. We do lead follow-up for the roofers. So the roofer's sales presentation, I hear it from our clients, but everyone's process differs. I like the idea of stopping by, but I also understand the scalability that when you're at a scaled business, you can't just stop by every single person. So I think a good time frame would be 2 days, 1 week, and then 2 weeks. And so the lead tracker that I posted, you can use that for the leads in your database for that you've generated, like your referrals. And then you also can kind of create a second column for sales presentations that you've given. So I would 100% make use of your CRM, things that were said at the presentation. And, but yeah, I think same day invoice if possible. and then a lead follow-up within 1 to 2 days, and then after that 5 to 7 days, and then after that 2 weeks. And then also make use of text message. That's something that I think is super underlooked right now, is text message. A lot of people want to communicate over text message, and I also believe in meeting the people where they're at. So if you're calling them, also have some kind of text form. If they don't answer, maybe a text message. Hey, just checking in to see where we're at with things. I know we spoke a day ago about your roofing estimate. Want to see what you're thinking right now. Pretty laid back, not super pressuring. 5 days later, checking in on you again. Is this something that still interests you? I may have some sequences somewhere, but also I want it to fit your guys' client. I could give everyone all this stuff, but it might not match how they talk, and you want it to flow naturally. So I would say 1 to 2 days, 5 days, and if they want to email you, email them. That's the thing. Also, people want to do is they want to do it on their terms, but at the end of the day, it's not about what I want; it's what the customer wants. If the customer wants to text me and they want to have text message back and forth, cool. Hey, it sounds good. Do you want me to send the contract over? Yeah, sounds good. There's no reason why I need to call them. They're telling me, text me. This is how I prefer to communicate. And I think a lot of egos, including my own, I had to learn this the hard way. A lot of egos get involved, and people are like, well, this is how it's always been done. And it's like, hey, look, if someone wants to email, great. If they want to text, great. If they want to talk on the phone, great. But meet the client where they're at. And then also, if you're driving around, gas is expensive right now. There's programs, and I don't remember the name of the software off the top of my head. There's programs around where you can have it go off if you're driving by one of your estimates. I forget the name of the software we used to have in the insurance industry. You guys got your trucks out there. You're already spending the gas. If I had a little thing go off, or if I knew something was nearby, like a deal that I quoted, why not stop by? And it just comes down to the ego once again, humbling myself enough to knock on that door. Hey, I was in the area. I was actually doing a job off Jones Street. We don't lie to people, right? We tell them the truth. Hey, I was doing a job over here, and just want to stop by, see if you're still interested in me helping you out with your roofing needs. Yeah. No, thanks. We got it taken care of. All right, great. Well, if you ever know anyone, my name's James Baskin. If I can help you with your roofing needs, whatever your name is. And so I think that's something that people also could do, and pick up some extra deals like that, because you're already on the road, you're already driving. Why not?
Yeah. What about you, Connor? I mean, in your history, I got some couple insights too, as some of just little tips and tricks I've learned over the years as a roofer, as a roofing salesperson myself. But any thoughts on your end of that you guys do, and from a follow-up perspective that's unique?
Yeah, I think, and Randy, I know you and I share some of the same the same ways that we actually work with our CRMs and stuff through the following up and automation processes. I think that's key. Setting a sequence, like you mentioned, James, that's something we've done, doing the text automation as well as email automations. I actually have a unique background in the corporate world of using a lot of sequences through InsideSales.com and some other things that we've used in the past from a software standpoint. So definitely. I think I got raised in the environment of like, hey, if you're only following up twice or three times, like you're not going to be very good at your job. And so the follow up has always been a massively important thing for us. And I think that's something that is the more and more that you and obviously the human element, the things that you offer, James, are very important to the sales process. But just being able to at a base level, be able to incorporate automation and be able to make sure that you're consistent with your messaging, and that you kind of have that. We all know that thing that we subscribe to by email, and we just get email after email after email, and just you get in their funnel and you're like, golly, but if there is truly a need and you need to have a roof replaced or have something done on your roof, it certainly makes it really easy to just say, all right, well, that's their fifth or sixth time I've seen that thing, I might as well take action on that, right? So I definitely agree with it. I think from our standpoint, obviously, Randy, you and I, Elite's a lot more groomed with that process, I would assume, but we just leverage a lot of the industry tools and the stuff that we can leverage to help automate some of that follow-up. And so I think the human element, James, is super cool to be able to have folks, and I don't know if that's been said yet, like how you guys utilize your talent overseas and stuff to be able to get those people to actually do the calling and the following up and stuff like that. But have you talked about that at all yet in this show so far, about some of those?
Yeah. So great great lead into that. And so we're right on the same page. I believe in automation plus human element. I think I don't have an exact date, but once again, I'll quote, humans, we're extremely intelligent people, just the human mind itself. We can recognize patterns and we can recognize automation now. And what happens is what I call white noise. I mean, that's just what I call it. And basically, we start to block out appointment reminders. We block out this stuff. And then obviously in marketing, we call it pattern interrupts. And so pattern interrupt could be something that kind of looks like automation, but it could be a human text. Kind of like if I messaged either one of you guys, you there right now? You'd be like, wait, what's this? Versus like, hey, your reminder for, James Baskin today at XYZ time at 6 p.m. or whatever time zone you guys are in is coming up. Like, you guys would know that's automation versus like, hey, you there right now for our call? What's this? So what I mean by that is getting creative with your automation. So I saw Ty, has had a question. So hopefully Ty helped cover that as well. Getting creative with your messaging. I think a lot of people are just doing cookie cutter templates. I believe in automation. What I don't believe in is everyone copying one another. In this day and age, you got to stand out. One of the big things in my team, and also kind of what we talk to our clients about, is core values. And so it's like who you are as a business. One of the things that I look for with our roofers is, are they ethical? Do they do the job they say they're going to do? And do they do what they say they're going to do? Basically the same kind of thing. But what I mean by that is that's going to come out in their messaging. Hey, you can text me whenever. If you have any questions, let me know. That's not like an automated response. And then if someone messages and then the roofer can pick up in the CRM, meanwhile, the people that, let's put it this way, roofer quotes someone, hey, let me know if you ever have any questions. We wouldn't handle that. We would leave that to the roofer. So my team and the clients we work with, we're humble and smart enough to be like, hey, when it comes to roofing stuff, that's out of my expertise. If someone starts asking for quotes on metal versus, slated roof and shingles, I want to stay out of that conversation. I want to leave that to the pros. If someone is asking like, hey, can you guys come by at 3:00? I want to schedule that for our client. I want to jump in there through text message. And that's where we started to utilize people overseas, full transparency, Philippines, Colombia, South America, where I live. And I'm in Florida right now, but I'm going back to Colombia tomorrow. And having someone then go into, let's say, Connor's calendar. I go into Connor's calendar. Someone says, hey, can you come by at 3:00 over text message? Once again, we're meeting the client where we're at. I can see in your calendar, you have 3:30. Hey, can you do 3:30? Yep. Awesome. I just scheduled it for you. I'll see you there tomorrow. So at that point, I already have their address because we've confirmed it through the lead. Or if we don't, we would ask them. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I want to talk about them because I want to paint this picture. If you don't have an address, we want to confirm the address, and then we want to go into Zillow or Redfin, and we want to make sure it's a real address. There's a lot of weirdos out there right now. Last thing I want to do is have someone go out to a house and it's a fake house, or maybe it's an apartment complex and it's like, we can't help that person. So then it's like, hey, what's your address? If they're telling me a good time to come over is 3:00, they're committed. Hey, what's your address? Oh, it's 123 Main Street. Okay, great. I got you in there. I verify it's a legit address. Great. Connor is going to be there tomorrow at 3:30. We look forward to helping you. And there's all kinds of stuff. I could go into all kinds of techniques and things, but I used to wear a lanyard that had my name on it. When I was selling insurance, they would literally have my state license. And I even welcome people being like, all right, I'm going to look for that lanyard. And it's like, cool, awesome. Check me out, because there's a lot of people, and I live in Florida and Colombia, and there's a lot of people in Florida back in the day that were doing some crazy stuff and still are, right? And so that's the text message. And then the call and all the sequences, all the strategy, it all comes together. Now you got calls, now you got texting, then you got automation reminders, and all of it together, I think, paints the perfect picture. And when you organize it, now you can see it, and you have sounds like a really good background on CRMs and technology wise. Now you can see it from the 1,000-foot overview, and now you've got manpower doing it. And now the roofer can focus on quoting jobs, following up with estimates, and what I call doing the work, which is, the manual labor, or if they're subbing it out, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things, and I was going to say, I don't know if you have a recommendation for this, James, like local presence wise. So we have a couple locations, and we like to have local presence numbers. And I'm sure that and I know that from my background, again, being in that corporate environment, using other technologies that aren't really used at all in this industry. They are more inside sales presence type stuff. We use Google Voice. We've used Grasshopper. We've used some of those for our local presence appearances. Do you have any recommendations around that stuff for folks that are looking to achieve that?
I do. There's a ton of dialers you can use. There's a ton of CRMs that you guys have probably heard. I'm not here to promote any CRM. What I will say is, yes, you can use a Google Voice. It's not as easy to change out a Google Voice. One of the biggest things that even the large corporations are dealing with right now, and this is at a government level, the government had to step in and they created something, it's called Shake and Stir. This is where you register your phone numbers, and we've all got the calls. Your car warranty is expired. Your student loans are this and that. It's ridiculous. But we're having to fight against people not even in this country, who knows where they are, trying to take advantage of people. And our numbers are showing up as spam. So now, and I'll give the link to you guys in the chat so you can share this. Anyone that's using any numbers through a CRM, Google Voice is going to be different than Twilio. Twilio is who provides the phone number. So this is more of a little on the technical side, but this will come up with people. You want to start registering your phone numbers, and you want to start testing your phone numbers. There's dialer services like ZenCall, RingCentral, DialPad, Go High Level. I don't want to talk too much about CRMs because I'm not here to you guys probably have companies that promote their CRM, and I'm not here to sway anyone for any CRM. But I will say this: test your numbers. Doesn't matter what CRM you go with. To me, I'm not here to promote any of them. What I will say is test them. Twilio is the number provider, and you want to register your phone numbers. So you can buy phone numbers for Twilio. I think they're like $10 or something like that, and then you register them with Shake and Stir. The government had to get involved because it's gotten so out of control with numbers getting flagged as spam. They can't even stop it. Like my health insurance provider, they tried to call me because I overpaid one time, and it was an automated message, and it was spam. So my own health insurance provider is showing up as spam, and the phone company can't even stop it. So the U.S. government had to get involved and create systems to stop this. And so Shake and Stir, it works. A month ago, all of our numbers were spam. A week prior to a month ago, we test our numbers every single week. None of our numbers were spam. So it was like overnight, everything turned to spam, which I can tell you right off the bat, it's going to affect call pickup rate. Not many people are going to pick up the phone. And now within less than a month with our clients and with doing this, which I posted in the chat right there, we registered our phone numbers. You got to verify the address that the phone number belongs to. It's like official stuff, which any legit business can do. Now our phone numbers are no longer spam. And we got clients all across the country. And now about 95% of them are out of the spam inbox. So I want to pass that along to your audience. Anyone that's using a dialer company, more than likely your phone number has gone through Twilio in some kind of way. If it's gone through Google Voice, you might have to just delete the number and start over. So full transparency, don't put your Google Voice on your truck or your business card, because if you ever have to replace it, you kind of have to start over with a brand new number.
Yeah, good stuff, man. We're going to take a quick little break here and give a shout out to our sponsors, one of which is our headlining featured presenter, Job Nimbus.
If you aren't using Job Nimbus, you should be.
The effects that it's going to have on my personal life, I can see is automation is going to change the way I live.
We've been able to eliminate all the paper, all of our paper files, and actually everything is online for us now.
Cool. Go check them out. JobNimbus.com, industry leading CRM. Speaking of CRMs from the last segment. So cool. So JobNimbus.com, go check them out. Appreciate you for being our presenting sponsor. So yeah, I think, and Randy, I don't know if you had something to pick up on. I didn't want to cut you off. I had one more question, but go ahead if you've got it.
No, go ahead, man. Fire away.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, I know you said you had some and we've used texting through think, Randy, you've used the Podium platform before, I'm assuming. And I know that there's, again, we don't have to get into specifics around, like what your favorite is, but like when you're talking about texting, because we've done the same thing with Google Voice. We've actually used the text functionality, so that way, whatever the number is, we can use it for that purpose. And I've found that a lot of folks, from our business standpoint, have been more receptive to the text messaging piece. So, just on your end, because I'm assuming you all do a lot of texting, and you probably do a lot of that piece of it. Anything specific that you recommend from a standpoint of, I guess, a tool that you've used if someone's trying to incorporate that into their business, rather than, I mean, again, we know we've used some industry platforms and some folks that maybe are more so in home services, but do you guys use anything particular? Are you willing to share some of the information around that from a text messaging standpoint?
Yeah, and first I would say if any of the CRMs that you guys promote, I would go with them first if they use text message. We do use a tool called Go High Level. It does call, text, all kinds of automation. For me, I'm big on functionality. It does a lot, and I like user interface. So if something like Job Nimbus does that, go with that. Anyone that's listening. And the big thing is there's always going to be a new tool that promotes something else, and it always goes back to strategy and implementation. There's always going to be a new stop on the bus that's like, oh, we do the best this. I'm all about how effective is it and is it easy to use, especially with contractors. Contractors, they've got a million different tools that people have told them to use, and they're still learning how to use Google Sheets, some of them. No offense at all. And so I like simplistic. So if you're listening and you're like, hey, I'm fine with, Connor said Google Voice and I can text people, great. And I would say use something to keep it organized. There's CRMs, like I mentioned, Go High Level, that, you get into it and it can be information overload, which I want to avoid, so I don't mind sharing that stuff with everyone. But the big thing is I don't want someone getting hung up on bells and whistles versus actually taking the action. So if you're using Google Voice and you're like, hey, you know what? I can take James's spreadsheet, I can type in the lead name, and I can write down that I texted them. Great. Simple, call it a day. No need for all the fancy bells and whistles. Because there's always going to be a new person that has the next best thing, and they're going to tell you how it's going to revolutionary change your roofing business, and you're still trying to implement the tool from 6 months ago you bought. And so the big thing for me is imperfect action. I'd rather someone, get quotes out fast, text leads back, and make phone calls and miss a couple people versus not do anything at all because they're overloaded with technology. So what I would say is have some kind of sequence. Almost everyone's got smartphones nowadays. And if you're like, hey, what do I say? Maybe you put a little note on your phone, a little copy and paste of like how you talk. And then you just put the lead's name in there and you text them from Google Voice. I'm a big proponent in the beginning when you first start doing this stuff. Keep it free, keep it low cost. There's plenty of people that want to sell you tons of different things that you don't need. Keep it free. Google Voice, like Connor mentioned, there's no cost to it. You can call one of your family members and be like, hey, my number's showing up as spam. Nope, you're good. You got the local area code. Great, cool. And then you can test it once a week, once a month, make sure you're good. And it's only when you get into high call volume that you got to worry about spam stuff. So I know I talked about that stuff, but that's like when you start making tons and tons of calls and you're growing and scaling. So I do want to kind of back up a little bit and say, like, when you're first started getting out kind of thing, it's probably not going to be an issue. And I'll tell you the truth, I'd rather you call with a spam number than not call at all, because you're like thinking, oh, is this going to be spam? Make the call. Who cares? At least you did more than what the next person does. And guess what? The good news about texting is it's not going to show up as spam. It's just going to show up as the phone number. So I would say, having some kind of process or some kind of flow is better than nothing. Take the imperfect action and then adjust, because, there's always going to be things that come up that you're like, oh, shoot, I have to pivot. That's just business. That's life. But when you add too many things, especially when you're new, too many new people, I feel like they add way too many things they don't need. And then all of a sudden they got hundreds and hundreds of dollars of stuff they're spending that they don't need that could go to all kinds of better use.
Yeah, I could agree to that. And I think one of the keys is you got to just take that action, right? I mean, take action in your follow-up process, and keep it simple. I like what you mentioned that earlier. So we got one more of our vendors to kind of give a shout out to, and then we'll go ahead and start the wrap up process here, and we'll get to last closing remarks.
Are you sick of what passes for leads these days? What's wrong with shared leads? Or Facebook ad leads? Yeah! Not much, unless you want to be the lowest bidder on every job. I wear a lot of hats, but search engine marketing and website, I've passed off to a Google specialized team.
Gotta love that commercial. That's a good one. Got a new commercial from Hook Agency. Tim Brown, a comedian as always. So go check him out. Hookagency.com. Another roofing and industry leading marketing agency around SEO and PPC. So appreciate them sponsoring the show. Hookagency.com. All right, back to it. Yeah, Randy, did you have another question, or I know you were kind of.
Nope. Go ahead, man.
Cool. So, so James, I think, yeah, as we're wrapping things up here, normally what we do is we kind of just leave folks with the gold nugget. I guess I know you've provided a lot of good things here for us to be able to take action on, but just one good gold nugget from you, if you don't mind being put on the spot, of something that, an action item or something people can start doing. Obviously, you've talked a lot about sequencing and stuff like that, but just if you could give us something to kind of walk away with, that'd be great.
Yeah. So, thank you guys again. I want to say I appreciate, Randy and Connor for having me on here. This is, definitely amazing. Something I have not talked about, and, I just saw with the Google, and I do believe in the last ad, that was a great ad, by the way, Tim, is going to be answering your phone. I think a huge thing right now that is going to be more and more, and Google, I believe, will start to outdo all of the Facebook ad stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that pops up. And so the nugget is going to be answering your phone when you have a phone number that's dedicated to a Google account. We're doing this right now. We take about 500 phone calls a month for a couple different clients, and everything from deck and fence, everything from roofing to solar, you name it, water restoration, all kinds of home services. And these people are calling around and no one's answering, and it's going to come down to answering the phone. And so I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's, someone that's overseas, or for me, I don't care if it's your mom's friend or your mom, whoever, or if it's yourself answering your phone. It's going to come back down to personal touch, not to get too much into like what's going on in the world right now, but, people are looking for that personal touch. Facebook leads are a dime a dozen. They're all over the place. We saw the heyday I was telling you guys about earlier, and we saw the amazing golden egg leads. We saw them repackaged as YouTube. We saw it as this. We saw it as that, and those are all great, and those are equal deals. But I'll tell you what, answering your phone is going to be where it's at, and I can see Tim, right in there as well. All the stuff I told you is perfect for follow up, and we start even adding an answering service, which is great. But what I want to say is to anyone out there, you're driving along, or even if you're on a job site, if you're just standing around there and your phone rings and you don't recognize the number, think about this. What if that was a buyer? What if you knew on the other line that person was like, send the contract, I'm ready to pay? Would you still screen your call and you're too busy because you're doing God knows what? You're at the gas station pumping, and I'll get to it later. Now I get it. We're all busy. This is when you start to think, can I handle this? Can I not handle it? Do I need to hire? Do I have someone I can employ? Can the guy, if you have a crew, can one of the crew members handle this for me? I get it. So answer the phone, and it's going to come down to this. I just got off the phone with the solar guy. He said he gets 5 calls a week. He's really slow. He's not a lot of calls, but he told me every one of those calls, when he answers it, it's a hot lead. And so if you're spending tons of money on Facebook ads, Google, you name it, you're building your brand, and then just to not answer the phone it's almost like, you're, quote unquote, pissing all over what you're building. And so I would say the golden nugget, there's no, kind of like what I started off with Randy, there's, and you, Connor, as well, hard work at the end of the day. It comes down to answering the phone. And if you can't answer the phone, hire someone, hire a company. I don't care who it is, but answer your phone and, make that customer feel like they're wanted, make them feel like they're heard. It goes back to principles and fundamentals. People want to be heard. We get people right now that are asking weird questions about what are irrigation systems and do we know about this? Do we know that? And my team, they don't know about that. Hey, we'll make sure the expert gets all your questions handled. And it's like, okay, cool. When are you guys going to call me back? Okay, we're going to call you back later today. Someone's going to reach back out to you. And then the companies are reaching back out. And that person, guess what? They feel heard. They remember the company name. Then when that company name calls back, because most of the companies aren't even answering, let alone calling back, guess who they're going to go with? You can have the best Facebook ads and the best social media presence and the door knocking crews and everything like that. People are doing that a dime a dozen. But are you answering the phone when someone's wanting help? So that's my nugget for you guys.
Love it. And I'll wrap here. I'm used to be getting thrown under the bus first to buy you a little time. So gave me some time. But this time I kind of want to go a little bit different because on the topic of follow-up, one of the things that, I work on with, I work with my sales team quite a bit. And, the question comes up is, how much should you follow up? My answer is you should follow up until you get an answer. Okay. And one way or the other, like, even if you went with somebody else, or you aren't going to work with me and you don't want my services, I need to know that. So I'm going to continue to follow up with you until I get that answer. Whether it's, hey, stop calling me, I'm not using you. Okay, great. Thanks. Have a great day. Or, hey, I just needed some time. I had to go through this, that, and the other. We're moving. I wait on an insurance claim or whatever. But keep following up until you get a definite answer. That's my takeaway for today.
Yep. Love it. Cool. James, how do we last bit, I think outsourcekings.com, right? That's your website. So folks are interested after the information you provided today to have some services. Go ahead.
I have a calendar link I can post as well if that's easier. And my calendar link's also on the website, but I'll post my calendar link also.
I'll just share your website link into the comment section, and then that way, if folks are interested in getting in touch with you for your services, they can. So, all right, my man, well, we appreciate it, and that's a wrap. Randy, you want me to sign us off? You good with that?
Yes, sir. Just
all
get
right.
it done.
Episode 190. Was it 3? I've already lost track. 194. See how bad that is. All right. Well, here we go. Signing off. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Like, subscribe, comment, all the things to follow the page, and we appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next episode.